Oh, no. We had a nice turnout. So Jeff loves it when he gets attention, So, yeah. Yes, he did a good job. He loves it. He's going to do next summer. He's going to talk about the bicentennial, 1976 in Wabash County. So, yeah, maybe we need to have you join him and talk about Little Miami County. I think we're probably together. Did you test the mic?
You know what? I didn't.
Okay,
I was going to ask if you want, if
I tested
I wanted
it,
to
so
make
you
sure.
should just need to pop that on and then make sure. Let's see.
Testing. Oh, I hear it.
There you go.
Can you
Rachel,
hear me?
Can you hear it? See.
Hello? Testing?
Okay.
Testing?
There we go.
I'll make sure it's a little.
I know that's the biggest trick is figuring out where to put it. So I don't know about you. I talk with my ears, so I'll slap it about 8 times.
I do too. I'm pretty loud, so if they can't hear me, then.
All right. Well, good morning. Welcome, everyone. We'll go ahead and get started. We are so excited this morning to have Jamie Ward, the author of a book that happens to be for sale in our gift shop. We all loved reading this. The whole staff read it. And we're so excited that we invited her to come and talk about the book. She is a travel writer. She has a blog about fascinating adventures in Indiana. And I think she's going to tell you a little bit more about her background and experience. But we do want to be sure and thank Bob Evans, our sponsor of our food and coffee. And please help yourselves. They always leave way too much for us afterwards. And also the Imagine 185 micro grant that helps support us bringing speakers for Thursday Parlay. And with that, I'm going to turn the mic over to Jamie. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So I am very excited to be here. I've spent the past 6 months traveling around Indiana doing a quote-unquote book tour for this new book, Secret Indiana, which just came out about, I think it's been 6 months now, if I can do the math right in my head, and talking to museums and groups of people throughout the state. It's been exciting. I try to modify, though, my presentation with each group that I'm speaking with, and it being October, I'm focusing a little bit more on the eerie and obscure side of the things I wrote about in Secret Indiana. All right, so just a little bit about me. I am a Hoosier. I've lived here all of my life, still live here. I live in Central Indiana. I am the owner of Wander Right Marketing, which basically I'm a travel writer who started her own marketing business to make money to survive. And so I do write full time, whether it's traveling and writing on my blog, Cornfields and High Heels, or it's writing for visitors bureaus, economic development agencies, or small businesses throughout the state of Indiana. I also wrote 100 Things to Do in Indiana Before You Die. Now, that was the first book I wrote, and that was about 2-3 years ago now, and followed it up with Secret Indiana. I'll get into a little bit of how Secret Indiana came about and the process of that. Okay, so I was actually born and raised in Elkhart, Indiana, northern Indiana, if anybody is familiar with that part of the state. It's not too far from here. I say it's between, Wabash is pretty much between Elkhart County and where I live now. And I lived there for 20 years before I relocated to Central Indiana. I've been blogging as a hobby since 2018. And 2 years ago, I went full-time into writing, which I feel very blessed to be able to do because it was a hard road with a lot of work to be able to get to doing it full-time as a career. I am sorry, it looks like my font is a little off on here. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what makes something secret. So one of the questions I get all the time is, why didn't you include this or why didn't you include that in the book? And as much as I would love to include everything, it's only one book, so it has to be saved for the next book. In fact, when I wrote 100 Things to Do in Indiana Before You Die, a lot of the stories that I put in this new book, Secret Indiana, were from my research for the first book. I took stories from people, locals, a lot of business owners throughout the state, and put those stories within this new book. So one of the things that I've been educating people on is what makes something considered a secret in Indiana. And this is how I went about it. Anything that I consider, I know it's opinion based, but anything that I consider weird, wonderful, and obscure, it's not well marked, it's rarely mentioned in guides, or it's just not as known. Hidden or unpublicized usually features quirky history and unexpected charm. So I am a history nerd, so I really love diving into the history end of things. And if I discover a new place, I definitely want to know the history behind it, which is where most of these stories came from. Hard to find or hard to access. So requires insider knowledge, a story from a local or a business owner, local tips and special directions to get to this place. Underrated, offers more to meet the eye and doesn't have mass tourism. One of my big passions with travel writing is promoting the places and the businesses and the sites that don't have a lot of tourism focused on them. And story worthy, if it has a unique background, legend or folklore, and a personal connection. Okay, so since we're in Wabash County right now, I do want to, there's actually 3 places in the book that are featured in Wabash County, which is a handful more than most counties in the state. A lot of counties only have 1, maybe 2 places, but Wabash actually has 3. Those include Shabby Owl Antiques, Kirloch Historical Monument, and Modocs Market. So I won't get into too much of why those are in the book because you all are locals, so you're local to those and familiar with those places. But I am going to expand upon some stories surrounding Wabash County and throughout the state to give you all an idea of some of the hidden gems that I found. Okay, so the cover models. So on the book, you'll notice there's a green dragon and a wizard. Is anybody familiar with this location? It's not far from here, actually. It's in Huntington. And so, and it's located at TBC Games. And I discovered TCB Games, or TBC Games. I'll get that right one day. When my kids were probably in high school, maybe a few years ago. And I talked with the owner and learned the story. This is actually, the dragon has a name. It's Charlie the Dragon. The wizard has a name, Draconus. And those were his childhood imaginary friends. So he brought to life some of the characters from his childhood and incorporated them into his business. In addition, the gaming store is located in a historic old library there in Huntington. So he's got lots of tales of ghostly spottings and folklore and that kind of thing, if you are into that. And then at the bottom of the book, I'm gonna go into, yeah, I apologize. I think when I expanded, it overlapped my font. But the bottom of the book is a huge brick building. It's a library. Is anybody familiar with this library? The Willard Library in Evansville. So great. I have a lot of great stories I could tell about this place. It was built in 1881, and it is known for being haunted by the Gray Lady ghost, who is said to be the ghost of the founder's daughter. There have been so many sightings and happenings that have taken place over the decades that has led the library to actually install 6 ghost cameras throughout the library. And you can actually watch those online 24/7. So I'm not necessarily one to really be into the ghostly. I'm more intrigued by the history of things. And when I was there for a book signing this summer, I had arrived early when the library was opening, and the staff were all going about something had happened apparently the night before. So I inquired like what was going on, and they said apparently in the middle of the night downstairs in the library where they do presentations and stuff where I was at, the cameras picked up their automatic doors opening throughout the night and closing. And so that had caused quite a commotion. The police came, couldn't find anybody, but the cameras, it made the news showing the clips of the doors. Oh, it was a little creepy, a little unsettling. But so that is an example of one of the stories that they have to tell. And yes, you can go online to the library's website and watch their ghost cameras if you want. Additionally, beautiful, gorgeous library to visit in person. Just, I've never actually seen anything like it. This is in their I can't say that word, but y'all know what I'm talking about. The where you look up you know what I'm saying? Yeah. They have a huge department on the second floor, and this room is located off of it, and it's just gorgeous, the woodwork and everything. Okay, so in Indianapolis, you can have coffee in a former psychiatric hospital. Is anybody familiar with the Central State Mansion area? Campus, yes, or the Central State Hospital, I think is what it was called back in the day. It operated for over 150 years. It's part of Indianapolis's history. You can actually, they've been restoring the campus where the hospital had a campus. They've been restoring it and adding, there's a museum on it, and it's called the Indiana Medical Hospital Museum. I think I got that right. And you can visit it. It's one of the things I encourage everybody to do when they go. It's in my book. They have actual brains, human brains on display, preserved, just talking about different diagnoses. These are, some of the brains are like 100 years old, and how the labs they had there and everything. So it's creepy, but also very intriguing if you're into history. And then afterwards, you can go next door to one of the buildings that houses a coffee shop that is open to the public. It's mother-daughter owned, and they serve the best coffee, but they also are housed on the campus of the hospital museum. So another cool little fact is their tunnels and everything that used to run underground are still all there. You're not supposed to access them, but they also don't have them closed to the public. So people do at your own risk. Has anybody been to Manson Society? That's the name of the coffee shop. So it's also part of the building that it's in is also been converted to apartments. So the coffee shop's open to the public, but if you go and sit in there and have coffee, it's all the original fixtures and everything from the hospital. Some of the residents will come and talk to you and tell stories about living there and that kind of thing. If you're into weird, some of the stories though. Does anybody know that Indiana is the goldfish capital of the world? It's a very quirky, if you're big into history, you might know this, but I have yet to meet a crowd of people who I've talked to who has ever known that, who knows this fact. So in Martinsville, Indiana, which is just south of Indianapolis, Grassy Fork Fisheries, it was established in 1899, and goldfish were very popular in the 1920s. So that is what they did. They produced goldfish. They had the hatchery, It is still operating to this day, and you can take group tours of it. And it's still titled the goldfish capital of the world. So if you didn't know, they
give you a free goldfish.
I don't think they do that. I didn't get one, at least. But they do sell, they sell millions of goldfish all over. Like, they ship them off. It's no longer named Grassy Forks Fisheries now. It's Ozark Fisheries, I believe. They were bought out, but this original sign is still there. They kept the original building, and Indiana Landmarks recently restored the original office building, and you can take tours of it. Yeah, so it's kind of cool. So a few of the buried secrets in Indiana. This is a little bit more of a well-known place. Turkey Run State Park. Do we have anybody familiar? Indiana State, okay. Okay. I'm a little bit surprised because everybody is always like, oh, yeah, I know all about Turkey Run. But it is one of Indiana's state parks, and it's one of the more popular ones, known for its scenic beauty and trails and whatnot. So the founder of Indiana State Parks is actually buried at the end of Trail 11 in Turkey Run State Park. Now, I say he's buried because this is what I was told originally when I was given a tour. However, upon further research, his ashes were buried. Him and his wife, both of their ashes were buried at the end of Trail 11, and there's a memorial for him there. And an old log church, and this church has been around since the early 1900s, and they still hold services every Sunday during the summer. It's really cool. No electricity or anything. You have to walk the trail. The trail is only like a half a mile. It's their most accessible trail in the state park. So it is gorgeous. If you've never been and you want to go, you don't even have to go do all the trails to take it. They have an inn, a state park inn, and cabins and everything. Okay, so Indiana's Sleepy Hollow. This is the most unknown thing that I put in the book. So this was a story a local told me about, and I had no clue, didn't even know this existed. But apparently, well, not apparently, I've been there. There's a bridge in Indiana, and it's called the Sleepy Hollow Bridge. And in the 1800s, stories, folklore say that a woman murdered her husband and then buried him beneath the bridge, hid his body there. And so now, and that she kept it a secret until she died. She took the secret with her to her deathbed, and her ghost lives on under the bridge there. Apparently, her guilt or whatnot has kept her ghost still present in the area. So if you are into that, this attracts a lot of paranormal investigations that have been done on the bridge, apparently. I went and checked out the bridge. It's been newly redone, so it doesn't look creepy to me at all. It is in the middle of nowhere. There's no GPS signal. You will feel like you aren't even in Indiana or wonder if you wandered out of Indiana because it's so out there. And then just down the road from it is actually a really old, creepy cemetery to add to the charm. The cemetery is not open to the public, though. It's a private cemetery on somebody's on private land. But I always tell people that so nobody wanders. Everything in the book you can access, is open to the public. So this is an example of something that's in the book that if you are into weird and unusual and you want to check it out for yourself, you can drive there. So it's not necessarily like there's no tours of it or anything, but you can go and check it out and check the history of it out and everything. Wander around if you like. Do a paranormal investigation. I want to say it's I'll get with you on that because I can't remember off the top of my head. It's in I want to say it's north or southwest Indiana, south of near the Bloomington area, but I might be wrong. I'll have to.
Wildcat Creek goes through Kokomo.
Oh, mine might be opposite. It might be northwest area. But yes, in the middle of nowhere, somewhere in one of those regions. But I'll look it up though. I have all the addresses and even tips on how to get to some of the places if you can't reach them easily by GPS in the book. So Indiana is home to the only operational rotary jail in the country. Technically one of three that is still in operation. But the one here in Indiana, you can actually go in, tour, walk around the jail, and they will rotate it for you. Has anybody been to Crawfordsville? To visit have you been to the jail then? It is very creepy to tour on your own because that's what I did. And it is really quiet and just eerie. It's lots of cool history. It's a museum, and part of the museum you can do like your own self-guided walk around the Rotary jail and through the cells and everything. And then the museum, who's ever working, will show you how they cranked to turn the jail, because that's what it is. That's what a rotary jail is. There's 2 levels to it, and there's no way for the prisoners to get out unless it's cranked around to one opening each level. So it takes like I can't imagine that it took like an hour to get to the prisoner's cell that was last on that crank, because it takes a lot of work to crank that. So you had to have a lot of muscles to do it. It was actually operational, I think, until I want to say the 1970s, maybe 80s even, because there were fires and some of the prisoners died because they couldn't get them out fast enough. So it's said to be haunted because of that, because people passed away there. But also the notorious murderer John Coffey, his execution took place here at this museum. So they have a lot of info on that too that you can read about when you're there. But yeah, so that's another little eerie kind of obscure Indiana detail, but really great for history. I mean, if you guys are into history, it's definitely everything in this book is about history. So spooky Indiana. Talking a little bit about the spooky side. I know that's been our theme, but these are probably the top considered spooky-ish things in the book. So Shabby Al Antiques, that's within your guys' county. Has anybody been there? Okay, really interesting antique shop, full of the taxidermy items, like old taxidermy stuff. I got the picture up there, kind of gives an example of it. But lots of interesting stuff. They really lean into kind of the creepy bit of things. So, but also they have an Airbnb, and it's just above the antique shop, and it's the most haunted Airbnb in Indiana. It's been titled that. I have not stayed there, probably never will, but if you're looking for an interesting spot to stay, that is just down the road from y'all. And then Famous Monster Pizza in Decatur is also not too far from here. This is a cool one. So I took my kids here, and I had no idea what I was going into. Somebody had told me about Famous Monster Pizza. The owner had decades, he was a collector of memorabilia from monster movies, decades of collecting. And he took all of his collection and incorporated it into his pizza restaurant, which has really great pizza. They have really good food. So when you go in and you're seated, this is the seating area. They play black and white movies on the screens, the whole dining experience, and some of the tables even have the old drive-in movie speakers, so you can listen to it while you eat. All of their menu is themed to like the monster theme / pizza theme, and they have a soda fountain and everything. So it's kind of it's a fun event. I don't know how little kids would feel about this because but I had teenagers and took them, and you felt like you were in a drive-in movie theater while you ate. So tips I give everybody for when you're out exploring these secret Indiana things, because a lot of them are in smaller towns, smaller businesses. Keep in mind that they aren't always opened on the weekends, or I'm sorry, on Mondays and Tuesdays. So that seems to be a popular, like, closing a day to be closed in small towns. So just keep that in mind and check the hours in advance in case it changes. Most of the locations, 80% of the locations in the book are free to visit, but there are a handful that cost admission or whatnot. Have an atlas on hand, because some of these locations you will not find on GPS or have a signal. So I always keep an atlas, because I do actual paper atlas, because I need it more often than you would think. And the book, Secret Indiana, it's not a book that I wrote wanting people to necessarily keep on their bookshelf, but more of a book to keep on hand in your car, take with you to go places and do things. So it's more of an experience book, and I encourage people to do that. Make notes in it, write in it, bookmark it, and just have fun with it, which makes it a great gift. I've had a lot of people get the books this year for wedding gifts. So it's like a great couple's gift for newlyweds. So if you are interested in finding out more about some of the Indiana adventures I've been on, you can find me on all the social medias, but I also am an admin for Indiana Road Trips, and we post a lot of stuff on there, things to do, itinerary ideas, and whatnot. So with that being said, does anybody have any questions? Yes.
You said you kind of do marketing.
I do.
For these people indirectly, though, by virtue of putting them out there.
Yeah.
Did anybody really get overwhelmed with business after you promoted them? That you heard about?
That I heard about, yeah. The one place that I did have a lot of people tell me about that they went to was the West Baden Hotel, which was featured in my first book, but I told a story about a secret within the hotel, about their library there. And a lot of people have told me they went and found, so in the library of the West Baden Hotel and French Lick Resort, which is open to the public, you don't have to stay there to visit. I was there, 5 years ago, and was hanging out in the library looking through the books, and notes were falling out of the books. I noticed there were notes, and it was a theme. There were a lot of notes, and I'm like, these were letters that I presumed other guests have left. But some of them had treasure hunts on them. Some of them were confessions. Some of them were love letters or a memory about staying there. And so I asked the staff about it, because I couldn't find it anywhere on Google. I tried Googling it, and I couldn't find anything about it. And they said for several decades that somebody started doing that, and now it's a theme. And so I've even left notes in the books when I've gone, and then I'll sit sometimes in the library and read others. The staff does not get rid of any of the notes. They keep all of them. So a lot of people have told me they went now and visited the library so that they could hang out, write notes and stuff. And yeah. Yes.
What was the location of your previous slide before this one?
The previous slide before this one? Let me see if I can pull it up, if it'll let me. Oh, this one? Or?
No, the other one.
Other way?
Right there.
Oh, this one? Yeah. So this is Holiday Park in Indianapolis. Those are the ruins from the structure of this that's left, the ruins, was made from quarries here in Indiana in New York. And the building that this was on in New York was going to be taken down. And so they transported them back to Indiana. And now you can see them at Holiday Park. They have holiday rock on the ruins. They have concerts around it and everything. It's a really cool. It's free to go visit and see. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
If there was one place that you visited that you're like, you can only choose one place,
Oh gosh.
which one do you think you would recommend to people?
So I get asked this every time I talk, and I rotate my ideas so that I don't have a specific favorite. So I lean more towards Evansville, which is a little bit of a drive because it's in the very southern corner of Indiana. The Willard Library, but also while you're there, the inspiration for the start of Secret Indiana, a very small locally owned bookstore called Your Brother's Bookstore, started and owned by two brothers. I was there for a book signing with my first book, and while I was there, they asked me, "Hey, do you know the story about the secret tunnel under a building under the bookstore?" And I was like, I've never heard this before. And they're like, "Yeah, so when we renovated this building just a few years prior, they gutted the whole thing, and two layers of flooring. There was a latch in the floor that they lifted up and found a room under the building that they didn't even know existed. And they went down there, and it seemed like just a standard utility basement room, but there was a hole in the wall of that room, and it was a tunnel that led to underground Evansville. And they had to bring an archaeologist out. They did find some artifacts. They can't go down there now because artifacts were found, but they were waiting funding to do that, to be able to dive into that. So nobody is allowed down there unless you're an archaeologist, but if you go and ask them about their tunnel, they'll show it to you. They'll lift it up so you can look down into it. Yeah. So those are the Evansville, so you can knock out those two places. Yeah.
I don't know if it's in your book or not, but an interesting site in Oxford, Indiana.
Oh yeah, what is that?
Birthplace of Dan Patch, a famous pacer.
Oh yeah, I haven't been there.
Yeah, the barn is still there. He set a record for the mile drag and pacing.
Okay.
And you can still visit, you can still see the barn. They've got his record 1.5.
Oh, that's cool. And that's in Oxford. And I don't think I've been to Oxford, actually. I've been to every county in the state of Indiana, but I don't recall the town of Oxford. But I write everything down that people give me, so I remember. That's how I find things for my books. So yeah, I'll definitely write that down. Does anybody else have any other questions? Yes.
We were on a little architectural tour of Wabash
Mm-hmm.
a week ago through the Visitors Bureau.
Yes.
And there are underground tunnels under Wabash, and we don't know what they
Yes.
are.
So there are so many underground tunnels throughout Indiana that I've learned, like visiting, that people have told me about, that were, part of the Prohibitionary period, or as hiding spaces during the Underground Railroad, especially on the east side of the state when people were coming up to go towards.
Once doing the tour, had no idea.
They didn't know.
The one that owns the building.
Yeah.
Had no idea.
So there's a lot of that, and it takes funding to be able to bring experts out to. Yeah. They've closed a lot of them up.
Exactly, as they pave roads and things. We actually have an opening downstairs.
You have one too, yeah.
My theory, Pete Jones may have more to add to this, is that the canal ran behind Canal Street, just one block over. I believe they unloaded into the basements of those buildings, and the underground tunnels let them bring things on over to this street as well. But I don't have documentation to prove that. I've just been told that may be what it is. So, but they did sound the film. I think in Thriftalicious, they can see over the wall into where it was. There's a spot that's bricked that they can see over. And then we've got a spot downstairs where you can tell it's the deepest corner of the building, and it was brick shut. but
That's cool.
it at
Yeah.
one time went under.
Yes, a lot. Yeah, a lot of places I've heard have had to close them up, safety reasons and that
And
kind
the caverns under Indianapolis, though,
Yeah.
are open for tours.
of. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the catacombs. Those are
Yes,
really
there
cool.
you go. Yeah.
Yeah, they even have events sometimes that do weird things, like go have a tea party in the cab.
We were just whispering in the back. You kind of inspired us to create a series of adult field trips or something where we
Yes.
could all just jump on a bus and go check some of these things out. So
Yeah.
if anybody has thoughts on that, share with us and we'll.
Oh,
see what we can
absolutely.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing how much you can do in your own backyard, like your own town, that a lot of people don't even realize unless they really dive into, I've been places where people have said, I've lived here all of my life, I'm 70 and I didn't even know that existed about things. And so it's just sharing that. So that's where my passion lies, is finding those places and sharing about them.
Visit Wabash County has a trolley, and they do a fabulous job of setting up trolley tours to the county and
That's awesome.
taking us to places that we either had only
That's
heard
cool
about or
too,
didn't
because
know
you get to
about.
do the trolley. You get a trolley ride.
A lot of fun. You'll have to come.
I know I will. I haven't done a trolley ride. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Any other questions?
Well, Lucky reminded me, we went recently to the Batman Museum in Logansport.
Oh, yes.
Kind of something
I have heard I haven't been there, but I have heard about it. I've heard about it.
Patrick, who was the original Eddie Munsters, was there that day.
Was there? Yeah. That is cool. So he visits famous Monster Pizza sometimes too, I'm told. So yeah, so that's a cool little, yeah. I haven't been there. That's one I haven't. I recently discovered the Wizard of Oz Museum in LaGrange near, yeah, I didn't know that was there. Sometimes I just drive past places and discover, yeah, there's a Wizard of Oz Museum. So if you're ever up in the Shipshewana area, LaGrange, it's small, but cool. It's a cool little museum. Yeah.
There's a fantastic RV museum in Elkhart.
Oh, yes. They are featured in the book. Yep. Yeah. It's not, but that's in over by Richmond, right? Yeah. Yep. I've been there, but it didn't. It is. I know. It really is. Yeah. I have been to that one. That's the one I was thinking of actually when you said, but then you said it was Logansport. And that one's in Elkhart. I've been to the one in Elkhart. I haven't been to the one in Logansport. Yes, a Batman museum. Apparently, yes.
Look, even you were getting ideas.
I know. Everywhere I go, I really do. I get ideas everywhere I go, and so, yeah.
Yes. Well, Jamie, thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
And let's give Jamie a round of applause. Jamie's book is on sale in the gift shop if anyone wants to dig in to the stories. And her blog is
Cornfields and High Hills, or fieldsandhills.com.
So you can check those out online. And next month, Pete Jones will be here with us. And Pete, tell me if I got this right. Pete is going to share with us 6 things that we should know about Wabash County, but maybe we don't. Did I get that right? More or less, I got it right. You got to come to find out what it's really about. So we'll see everybody in November. So thank you so much. I mean, he can wing it. He'd still be good. Yeah.
Jamie, I'm
Yes.
David Nelson with the local paper.
Oh, hi,
Can you
David.
bring